waking up to a new sunrise, looking back from the other side. I can see now with open eyes.
Darkest water, deepest pain, I wouldn't trade it for anything, 'cause my brokenness brought me to you, and these wounds are a story you'll use. So I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them I wouldn't know your heart, and I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the scars. Now I'm standing in confidence, with the strength of your faithfulness.
And I'm not who I was before. No, I don't have to fear anymore.
So I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them I wouldn't know your heart, and I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the scars. I can see how you delivered me. In your hands, in your feet, I found my victory. I can see how you delivered me. In your hands, in your feet, I found my victory. I'm thankful for your scars, 'cause without them I wouldn't know your heart, and
With my life I'll tell
of who you are. So forever I am thankful.
I'm thankful for the scars, 'cause without them I would know your heart, and I know they'll always tell of who you are. So forever I am thankful for the scars.
So forever I am thankful for the scars.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, bless you.
God bless.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks for being here. I have some technical difficulties. I was planning on being on a little bit earlier, but I had one computer give me a hard time, and then, well, my password, something happened to my Twitch account. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But anyways, hey, how's it going, Martin? Thanks so much for joining. How you doing, buddy? So we got Angel in the house over here on Periscope. No, I don't want to do that. What am I doing here? Come on. Work with me, Periscope. Work with me. Periscope's being a bit of a difficulty right now. Alright, hope you all are doing. Hope you can hear me well. Thank you so much for joining. Just wanted to let you know who I am, what I'm doing here. So let's get into that. Alrighty, guys, make sure you share out, like, tweet, retweet, all that stuff. Thanks so much for doing that, and thanks for just being here and doing this. So it looks like YouNow is being difficult tonight. Let me go ahead and try to get that guy back on again real quick. Oh, let's see. We're going to go with ask question. Sure, why not? Paste. And next. And next. And stream. Sound as picture is good. Thanks so much for doing that. And we're going to bring on something a little bit different tonight. And I'll show you in a second. Alright, looks like we're getting... Alright, cool. Alright, YouNow is coming back online. Let me do that. Fade them guys in. Bring them in. Let's see what they got going on. Alright, I'm going to try to make this fast. So hopefully it's... hopefully we can do this. Alright. So who am I? I'm Jason Wallace. I'm a believer, a follower of Jesus Christ, a prayer warrior, I'm an intercessor, I'm a Bible reader, I'm a devoted husband and father. I am a child of God. I am a citizen of heaven. I am a member of Christ's body. I am a friend of Christ. I'm a very proud member of the Jesus Did It family. And tonight we're broadcasting from YouTube, YouNow, profusely corded and falling apart. There we go. There we go. We'll bring this guy in too. We're gonna do this. Yeah. Alright, so YouTube, YouNow, Live.me, DLive.tv, Periscope. What's going on, Gary? Thanks for joining. Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast, FC2, Peaks, Mixer, Peaks, Mixer, Instajib, Vaughn Live, Africa TV, OK.ru, and I think tonight we are going to not do Kitty Live. Talking Donkeys in the house. Martin, thanks so much for joining. Alright, so let's do that. So now we got what's going on with YouNow is being difficult. YouNow being difficult. Let me try cutting the screen and cutting it back. Let's see if it gets any better. Nope. Alright, stop and start it real quick and we'll see if that happens. If not, gonna be no YouNow tonight either. Because I want to get this this message apparently is needed to get out, but there is yeah, there's something stopping stuff from happening, that's for sure. Anywho, I hope they can see it over there. If not, it's, well, what are we gonna do? Tonight we're gonna be doing an experiment. Instead of doing instead of doing Kitty Live, we're going to try. It's very interesting. We're going to try to do a talk show on the Live Jam feature on Smule, and we're gonna try this and see how it works. So while we're getting ready here, I'm going to bring that on as well. So just trying this out. So we're going to say talk, microphone. What's going on? Thanks so much for joining. Microphone, talk show, talk. How about we're going to do this one. We're going to do devotion. And Bible talk. How about devotion? And then Psalm 121. There we go. All right, let's get this into motion here. This thing's stuck on silly over here. Wonder if I hit refresh, it's probably gonna break it. Any hoot. All right, so talk show. Let me make sure I write that in there. Talk show. Talk show. What's going on? Thanks so much for joining. I'm already broadcasting. I want to broadcast from here. Yeah, it's still not working. Oh well. Oh well, it is what it is. Psalm 121 and done. Actually, no, I'm going to do that. Hashtag Jesus did it. Alright. So, let's get into some worship right now. Let's do that. And I guess first we'll talk about the Jesus Did It website. If you go to jesusdidit.org. Hey Dario, thanks for joining. jesusdidit.org. You can take a look at all the great stuff that we have there. There's the affirmations there. There's a download. Definitely want to download that thing. Print it out. And, bring that, print it out, put it in your Bible, stick it up on a wall. Let you know who you are and who the Bible says you are, for sure. And follow the other great broadcasters there. Definitely a good follow. And the people in the middle are people that we kind of like to watch generally when we are watching our broadcast. Down below there is my social media links. If you're interested, you can follow any rest of the links. And below here is the Facebook group, Jesus Did It TV. Alright. So, uh-oh, what happened to my screen here? My screen got all messed up. Alright, well, we're gonna go with it, however it is. My screen got messed up a little bit. That's okay. Alright, well, it is what it is. Alright, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. There is me. Where is the Smule screen properties? Boy, I'll tell you what, I'm having a hard time today. I'm just having difficulty all over the place. That's alright. Alrighty. So Scars it is. We did that one on the way in. So, I think we're going to pick... Hey, Becky, thanks for joining. I think we're going to pick another... a little bit older song that we've recorded. Alright, so... let's see what we're going to do. Let's do Build My Life. Let's do that one. It's a great song. And while that's happening, I'm going to bring them over in on a live jam as well. And get them guys ready to listen. So here we go.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing. worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you.
Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you.
Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you.
We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you.
Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me.
Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me.
You have no equal, now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a beautiful name it is. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone. And
God bless you, girls. Thank you.
That's right. I put my trust in Him, and I will not be shaken. Not one bit. And that's what we need to do. We need to put our trust in Him. Because He has done all great things for you. All great things for you. Alright, let's do... I want to do a little bit older one. Another one. Where is... How's it going? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. There we go. Broken Vessels. So, what's going on, EJ? Thanks for joining in the broadcast. Alright, guys, let's worship.
All these pieces broken and scattered, and mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed but not forsaken. I've been set free. I've been set free.
Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see you now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. You take our failure, you take our weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be your vessel, the world to see your love in me. Oh,
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see you now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Oh, I can see you now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
Amazing grace. Isn't it amazing how much he loves us? How much he... What's going on? Thanks for joining Pastor Rick Costa. Thank you so much for all the tweeting, retweeting, liking, stuff like that. You guys are awesome. Do appreciate that. And it's amazing. Amazing grace, right? That no matter what has happened in the past, that he has broken those bonds, those bondage, broken it from us, so we can live with him for eternity. You know, I can't wait for that day that we are just in his place. And so let's give him some glory about, Lord, I give you my heart. So let's give it to him. Let's give our heart to him.
This is my desire, to honor you, Lord, with all my heart I worship you. All I have within me, I give you praise. All that I adore is in you. Lord, I give you my heart, I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake, Lord, have your way in me.
This is my desire, to honor you, Lord, with all my heart I worship you.
All I have within me, I soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake. Lord, have your way in me. Lord, I give you my heart. I give you my soul. I live for you alone. Every breath that I take, every moment I'm awake. Lord, have your way in me.
That's such a great old tune. Bit older tune, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how old it is, but it was good, really good. Good song. Alright, let's go dig in. We're going to grab one more and then we're going to get into the reading because it is getting late. And I want to make sure that we I'll make sure we do a couple other songs. So I'm not going to play the live jam recordings because those are there we go. Nothing else to say about this song. Nothing else to say. It's an awesome song.
God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time.
With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born.
In the vapor of your breath, the planets form.
If the stars were made to worship, so will
I can see your heart in everything you've made.
Every burning star a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void.
For once you have spoken, all nature and science follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath,
Evolving in pursuit of what you said. If it all reveals your nature, so will
I can see your heart in everything you say.
so will I.
So will I. If the stars were made to worship, so will I.
If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I.
If the oceans roar your greatness, so will I.
For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I.
If the wind goes where you send it, so will I.
If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I.
If the sum of all your praises still falls short,
Then we'll sing again 100 billion times.
God of salvation, you chased down my heart through all of my failure and pride.
On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die.
And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear.
Where you lost your life, so I can find it here.
If you left the grave behind you, so will I.
I can see your heart in everything you've done.
Every part designed in work of art called love.
If you gladly choose surrender, so will I.
I can see your heart a billion different ways.
Every precious one, a child you died to save.
If you gave your life to love them, so will I.
Like you would again 100 billion times.
But what measure could amount to your desire?
You're the one who never
Leaves the one behind.
Such a great song. And yeah, just amazing song that really just starts off from Genesis and works its way all the way through creation to right to the cross, right? And amazing. Alright, let's bring Live.me on. Let's bring our new friends on Live Jam. I don't know how this is going to work, so we'll have to try it out and see how this is all going to work. Come on there. Goodness, this thing's all a little pokey. Alright, we're going to do chat, and we're doing... What's our devotion today? Water into hope. Water into hope. Alright, let's bring these guys in and let's see how this is gonna work, because this... Uh-oh. That ain't holding it. Oh, that's not good. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. Alright, guys. Hold on a second. You're going to go for a little ride. Alright, little ride. You'll be alright. No worries. You'll be fine. We're going to bring you back here in a second. I just have to switch the cameras around here a little bit to... of course, that's going to block the camera on that one. Alright, let's get this camera figured out better. Okie dokie. I think we're back. I think we're back in business. I think we're good. Except that screen's not going to work for me. Here we go. But that'll work. We can do this, and we can do that, and we do a little bit of click here and a click there, and life changes. And it's better. Alright, water into hope. Okie dokie. So now... Oops. I'm clicking all you guys. I'm clicking all you. Alright. What's going on? Dave Keller, thank you so much for joining. Alright, so we just sang some worship songs and praise our God for sure. And it's so weird in the ear. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We are on a journey to make it through the Bible. And we're also make it completely through the Bible, totally on social media. So on, let's see, on Periscope, we have pretty much the whole Bible recorded, but they only hold like the last 500 broadcasts, so that's going to be interesting to see. But at least we know that we started at Genesis 1, and we're making our way back through again, all the way up to Revelation. So let me bring my screens all look a little off today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's shaking over here. Let's see, does that look a little better? J.R. Wallace is in the house too. Thanks so much for joining. We're going to bring on our friends over here on the live jam also, because we're going to do alright, I'm on the mic. Yes, I am. So hopefully you guys can hear me. What's up? Funky Waffles, thanks for joining. And so we're bringing everybody in here tonight, and we're going to be doing this. Let me start my recording. I got to know how to do this. So we're doing this, and we're doing freestyle. Express yourself. Alright. And start. Alright, so we're going to start this out right now, and go. Alright, so we're broadcasting on a new platform tonight. New platform. We've kind of abandoned the Kitty Live for right now, just because I want to make sure... not getting much interaction with them guys. I'm seeing a lot of people, but I'm not seeing much interaction. So we want to make sure that we get onto platforms where there's interaction. So that's what we're doing. So here we go. And Roblox is in the house as well. You know that? Alright, so reading through the Bible. What are we doing? We're reading from we're in Psalms 121 and Psalm 121, and we read from the New King James Version online here. Like I told you guys before, I normally read from the Amplified version, but you can pick and choose whatever version you'd like. Like my church, we use the NIV version. It's really up to you, however you want to do that. And so, just grab your Bible, get your translation. Most of the words are the same. There may be a couple things that are there. Pikachu, Charizard, or the Archino, huh? I can't even say that thing right. Archino, that one. I like the Charizard, to be honest with you. I like Pikachu too. He's alright too. Sup? How's it going, man? Thanks for joining in the broadcast. I don't play Roblox, but my kids do. Alright, so let's read into this Bible today. So today we're reading from Psalm chapter 121, and the title is A Song of Ascents. I'm sorry, the title. Oh my goodness. It's the beginning of it. A Song of Ascents. I will lift my eyes to the hills. I can remember a couple songs that start off like that. That have some words in there like that. From whence comes my help? So where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who has made the heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. That's truth right there. Going to sleep? Yep, no problem, man. I'm gonna be going very, very soon too. Thanks so much for joining and sharing out and all that stuff. You're awesome. All right, so that's the word. What's going on, Gabriel? We're doing something new here. It's kind of a Bible study, so to speak, a devotional. So there's no singing in this live jam right now, but we're gonna be discussing some stuff here in a second. So we just got done reading Psalm chapter 121, and so then we're also going to be doing our devotional that we normally do. And the devotional for today is I'm an ambassador for Our Daily Bread. Our Daily Bread is a free publication. You might be able to get it at your church if you don't have access to this from your church. Go to odb.org, right? Go to the website right there, odb.org, and you can get electronic copy right on the web page. Yeah, no problem. And if you like, you can get your own copy. And if you happen to be in the Buffalo area and you'd like a copy for yourself, a physical copy, I have physical copies. Just send me a direct message, and I will definitely show you. You seem nice. Thank you so much. I try to be. So, for tonight, for Sunday, December 15th, the title of the devotional for today is, and by the way, I have Our Daily Bread's permission to read this devotional, so there we go. You already asked me that. Pikachu, Charizard, or Archino. Or was it someone else? I don't know. Let's give the answer Pikachu this time. Anyways, so let's do this. The title is Water into Hope, and this is written by Allison Cada. All right, here we go. Tom and Mark's ministry refreshes lives. This is clear in the video that they share of a group of fully clad children laughing and dancing in refreshing water of an open shower, their first ever. The men work with indigenous churches to install water filtration systems on wells in Haiti, easing and lengthening the lives as diseases connected to contaminated water are prevented. Access to clean and fresh water gives the people hope for their future. Jesus refers to living water in John chapter 4 to capture a similar idea of continual source of refreshment. Tired and thirsty, Jesus has asked the Samaritan woman for a drink. This request led to a conversation in which Jesus offered the woman living water that would become a source of life and hope within them, like a spring of water welling up to eternal life. We discover what this living water is later on in John, when Jesus said, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink," declaring that whoever believed in him would have rivers of living water flowing from within them. John explains by this he meant the Spirit. That makes sense. So through the Spirit, believers are united in Christ, and have access to boundless power and hope and joy found in God, Like living water, the Holy Spirit lives inside believers, refreshing and renewing us. Amen. This question for today, it says, how has Jesus satisfied your thirst through His Spirit? And how will you share what Jesus has done for you? Some pretty tough questions there. Think about them. Alright, so what languages do I know? I know English and a little bit of Spanish. So the prayer says, Dear God, thank you for leaving us your Spirit. Work in us, that our lives point others to you. Today's reading is from John chapter 4, verse 4 through 14. And the title, and the key verse for today is John chapter 7, verse 37. Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink. So yeah, we that's part of the stuff that we went to go help with when I went on a missions trip to Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic, we did that. Helped with the water part of the ministry as well. We were helped build a storehouse that held the water containers that they were getting ready to distribute the water to people, and it's really cool that that people can now, instead of having, some people walk like all day, so they'll walk all day to get a bucket of water and walk back, all day. It'll take them that time, and it's crazy to see that, because they're carrying it in the hot sun, carrying it back. They don't even know if the water's clean enough to drink. It's sometimes not good water. So it's good that churches that are in the areas there are able to build up the wells and put in water filtration and help them get going with it. Clean water is very important. So, happy America. Do you have a favorite singer or rapper? I don't know, Teen Rose. What's yours? So let me see here. We'll check some stuff out, guys. If you have any prayer requests or praise reports or anything like that you'd like to put into the chat stream, we'd like to pray for you and with you, lift you up in prayer for sure. I'm going to stop the recording here in the live jam just to stop it, quit it, and we're going to save this. There we go. Masked Man has joined. Alright, so let me see what we got going on here. Oh yeah, we got plenty of people on. So guys, prayer requests, praise reports, anything like that. I just ask that you, hey Raven, thanks so much for joining. Or Raven, yeah, Raven. I guess that would be spelled Raven. What is this? This is like, I don't know. It's like a Bible study, but cool, Cool Bible study. So we hang out here and we chat a little bit. We read a little bit of Bible. We pray for each other. Sing some songs. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Alright, well, if you have any prayer requests or praise reports, please put them in the chat stream. We'd love to pray for you and with you. Nice, I know, isn't it? Try to use the technology to help bring people to know who Jesus Christ is. So it's really, it's important. It's important stuff. Eternity. I am bored, you. No, I'm not bored. I'm a little tired. I'm about ready to go to sleep, but I'm not bored. But I'm broadcasting on YouTube, YouNow, Live.me, DLive.tv, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast, FC2, Peaks, Mixer, Instajib, Vaughn Live, Africa TV, OK.ru, and I'm doing a live jam on Smule app as well. So we do the Bible study right on Smule as well. So if you're interested, there's plenty of other platforms as well. We sing songs in the Smule app. That's really, really cool. So yeah, you became a fan. Thanks so much for becoming a fan. Because you became a fan, I fan you back. How do you like that? And thanks so much for joining. So guys, any prayer requests, praise reports? Otherwise, we're gonna shut it down because it is a bit late tonight. I got started late because of the technical difficulties, of course. The computer over there was giving me a hard time tonight. So far, you're the only Christian person on here. No, there's some other ones. They used to broadcast. There's a couple people that used to broadcast. There's a couple of people that used to broadcast, but when they took away the ability to do this type of streaming, they stopped, and I haven't seen them come back anymore. It's weird. But you know what? I'm gonna keep moving forward, and we're gonna bring the Word of God to all the platforms we can. There's so many people hurting. There's so many people that never even heard the name Jesus, don't even know that that all this trouble within their life is taken away, right? What's my favorite emoji? I don't know. I like the praying hands one. That one's alright. I don't know. The big smiley face or the rolling one, the rolling on your whatever. Be careful doing it. You could get banned on some apps. Nah, I'm not doing nothing to not get banned. Hey Patricia, thanks so much for joining. So we're doing live talk show, Bible devotional on here. Yeah, I haven't been banned yet. Nothing to be banned about. I'm not doing it. I'm not violating any of the terms of service or community rules. So I come on, we sing, we read the Bible, we do devotional talk. It's really nothing that's really bad. There's some bad stuff on some of these apps. I'll tell you what. There's some of the stuff people need to, cover themselves up. Go get some good night's sleep and go get a good job, and then you don't have to do the stuff that the people do. It's crazy. My 5th grade homeroom teacher is in the house, Miss Jenny Homewood. How are you doing? Right, 5th grade. I think you're 5th grade, wasn't it? I think it was 5th grade. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, guys. No prayer request? Alright, let's do this. What other app are you on? I'm on a whole bunch of other apps. I'm on YouTube, YouNow, Live.me, DLive.tv, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, Smashcast, FC2, Peaks, Mixer, Instajib, Vaughn Live, Africa TV, OK.ru, and I'm doing a live jam on Smule. So, that's what, I don't even know now. It's what, like, that sounded like 15 of them. Yep, that's what we do. What's up, names? Thanks so much for joining. It is a lot, but this way here I get the Word of God to go, I get it out there, man. Get it out there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 streams all at one time with 5 devices. So a computer that does most of the streams, and then I've got one doing live.me and one doing the live jam, and then I've got my moderator one that I use for Periscope, because, well, sometimes the people on Periscope aren't so nice. What's going on, Ted? Thanks for joining. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Fink Wesley. Thanks so much for joining. How's it going? Welcome to my broadcast. We're in Canada? Is that where that is? Canada, CA? I'm in near the Buffalo, New York area, so not too far from Canada. Not quite sure where you are, but welcome aboard. Alright, hey Brooke McDonald, thanks for joining. Alrighty, well, no prayer requests, no praise reports, that's alright. So, we don't know what our topic is going to be this year. We're, hey, I will testify, thanks for joining. I am, just got done with the Bible study here, and, hey you, Isn't it late there? You should be sleeping. Oh no, you're probably getting up now. It's probably wake up time. Or very early in the morning. But yeah, I'm doing my broadcast. This is my normal broadcast. But I figured I'd try it out on a live jam and see how it works. So we did the reading it. No, you haven't slept all night? Oh my goodness, you need to go get some sleep. That's awesome that you just stayed up all night. Were you listening to the Wade and Joelle, their show? Oh, you're live jamming all night long. And the talk show, of course. So, you know, I sort of snuck their idea a little bit. I like their idea doing the broadcast, the talk show. So I figured I'd give it a try. We'll do it over here. I have this extra phone to use. So yeah. So today's devotional was a good one. And if you want to catch the devotional on Smule, it'll be on a replay. I saved it as a freestyle. And on Facebook or Periscope, or I think those are the only ones that really hold. Twitch has a couple. Did I mention Twitch in there? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. Twitch and DLive, they hold them for a little bit of time. And Smashcast for a little bit of time. YouTube would be the good resource. That has all of them. And has all the recordings as well. So we do. I send the message out there. You have some kind of echo. Oh, you know what? Did I do that whole thing in echo? That would have been really, really bad. Oh no, that's alright. There we go. I gotta remember next time to turn it down to none. See? You're helping me. It's better now. It's better. Oh boy. Well, that's alright. So the recording will be in the echo for the first one that I did on Smule. That's funny. So let's see what we got going on tonight. I know it's all goofy. I'm so tired. We had 1,173 viewers come through the door on Periscope, and we had a few come through. YouNow. Let's see what else we got. I didn't see anything here that really stands out. We had 216, looks like. 216 come through the doors over here on live.me. A few people on Periscope, so it's all good. Yep, that's what we do. We bring the Word of God to as many people as we can. And that's why we do those broadcasts. So all at one time, simulcast, or multicast. I don't know how you would put it. It's a multi-stream. So let's I guess let's close in a word of prayer, and let's head on out. We'll get some rest. All right, Father God, we just thank you for this time tonight, Lord. We just thank you for the opportunity to be able to get into your word and be able to understand you a little bit better, and your love for us, and how us being servants to just be willing to help out those who may be in areas where they don't have clean water, and we're able to help them deliver a clean source of water to help them be able to not be as sick and be able to have a longer life. And Lord, we just thank you for those people that are using those opportunities to not only bring them, the real water, but to bring them the living water, the water that is Jesus Christ, and allowing the Holy Spirit to work through things. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to get into your word. I thank you for everyone who's come on the broadcast and shared out and tweeted and retweeted and liked and shared and did all that stuff to glorify your name, Lord. And this has nothing to do about me. It's all about you. And God, we just thank you for the opportunity to be able to worship you as well with our song tonight, Lord. And we just we love you, God, and we thank you so much for what you do for us every single day. In your mighty and powerful and amazing Son's name we pray. Amen and amen. Your favorite verse is 1 Peter 2:1. 2:18. Got it. Amen. That's right. Be blessed. Alright, Roland Schwarzkopf's in the house, all the way from Romania. Thanks so much for joining, my friend, on Facebook. Alrighty. I think we're going to shut it down. Alright, so when we shut down, we play a song, and then we head on out. I don't know how the song is going to sound over here on you guys, so I'm probably going to shut that one down. Oh, I'm sorry that you're using words out of context. That's good for you. Maybe you ought to read the whole. All right, we'll see you later there. See you later. Yeah. So I'm gonna shut down these guys because I don't think it's gonna be any benefit for them to hear the echoey boom 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 noises. So, alrighty, we're leaving this live jam. Thanks so much for joining, and I appreciate you guys. Alright, let's do that. Live jam's done. Alright. So, sorry, I don't take orders. You can read it. You can read the whole chapter. Just read the whole chapter. Maybe you'll get some understanding. So, let's shut it down. Alright, we already prayed, and let's get into some worship here. So, let's pull up a song. Let's head on out. Because ignorance will get you nowhere. Alrighty. Let's pick a good song for right now to close out. I'm thinking that we need to understand this. Alright guys, I love you all. Diana O'Neill, thank you so much for joining. So guys, make sure you grab the link. Follow me on the rest of the social media. Thanks so much for joining. Raven, thank you. Good night. And so this is a great person who sang with me on this song. So thanks so much for joining. I love you all. Get some rest. Be blessed. And have a nice night.
When sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast told me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well.
It is well
With my soul.
with my soul. It
is well. It is well with my soul. My sin, oh, the bliss of this glorious thought. My sin, not in part, but the whole is nailed to the cross, and I bear it no more. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, oh my soul. It is well
It is well
with my soul.
with my soul. It is well. It is well
soul.